Hello lovely people, welcome to the Geek Cupboard, I'm Penge, and welcome to day 12 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022. So once this day is done, we'll be halfway through the Advent calendar, halfway through our lovely range of teas, so fingers crossed that today's tea is a good one to mark the halfway point. So here we go, let's open up the Advent calendar and see if we can find gigantic tea door number 12. Where are you, gigantic tea door number 12? There you are. There's gigantic tea door number 12. Hang on. So let me kind of fold that so we can get it a little bit more under the camera. So there we go. We're looking at this one here. And the objective thing says plant a tree. That's quite a tricky thing to do, Advent calendar. Some of the others are relatively easy. Like, read a novel. That's a little bit easier than plant a tree. I don't have any kind of tree saplings lying around the place that are in need of planting. So I might have to, if I want to do that, go out and buy like a tree sapling and then go and plant it at some point. I mean, we haven't really got anywhere in the garden where we could put a tree. It might have to go in the park. However, right now, here in the UK, as I record this, everything's covered in snow. Where I am is quite snowy for the UK, so the ground will be quite hard. So maybe, Advent calendar, we might have to park this one and come back to it at some point when the weather is a little bit more suited to digging into the ground and such, because it's all snowy out there and it's very cold, so the ground is going to be pretty difficult to dig into, I would say. So we might plant a tree, just not right now. Or maybe if I play a game, we'll plant a tree in a game or something. I'm not entirely sure. So, okay, we'll have to kind of come back to that maybe. Let's open up the door, though, for day number 12. What do we have? It's a green bag holding the tea. Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow will bring more tea? Yes, it is. That's what I live in hope for. So a flavoured green tea in a bag. Let's turn over and reveal today's tea. Jade Mountain. Okay. Explore Jade Mountain and discover a utopia of cocoa, brittle pieces and green tea. A hint of chocolate and sweet hazelnut praline is totally worth it. Okay, this is fascinating. It's got many things in it. Hang on. It's got Genma Cha, so green tea 50%. Then it's got brittle pieces. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? A sugar, hazelnut and inverted sugar. Okay, so it's got like kind of sort of hard sugary bit, sort of a bit hazelnutty. Then it's got cocoa husks, so a bit chocolatey, sweet blackberry leaves, almonds, carob, roasted chicory root, natural and artificial flavouring. Okay, that's got many things in it. I'm intrigued. I don't know what to expect. I genuinely don't really know what to expect, apart from maybe a bit of a chocolatey sort of tasting green tea, possibly, but also hazelnutty. I'm intrigued. Okay, do you know what? I'm looking forward to this one. It could be brilliant, or it could be a complete disaster. But do you know what? There's only one way we're going to find out. We're going to have to make the tea, and to do that, we need to go to the kettle. And here we are with our lovely freshly brewed cup of Jade Mountain tea, and it does look like a very good cup of tea, doesn't it? Look at that. It's got a lovely kind of amber colour to it. It looks very good. And also, it smells very good. So while the mug is down here on the desk, I can smell chocolate. It smells quite cocoa-y, with a little possible hint of hazelnut. But then, weirdly enough, the closer I bring it to my nose, the more it smells of hazelnut. So if I put it right next to my nose and then smell, it smells hazelnutty. Whereas if I put it back down here on the desk, it smells more cocoa-y, which is quite unusual. It's got different kind of smell characteristics the nearer you are to it, which is quite different indeed. So, I quite like that. So, close up, definite hazelnut. Down here, the general kind of aroma that's filling the room, filling the Geek Cupboard, is a more sort of cocoa-y type of smell, which is very interesting. However, let's have a taste, shall we? I mean, is it going to taste cocoa-y? Is it going to taste hazelnutty? Is it going to taste of something else entirely? I do not know. So let's go and give it a taste, shall we? Okay, that is predominantly hazelnutty, I would say. I would say that's mostly hazelnutty. There is a little sort of hint of cocoa, I would say. Sort of a chocolatey hint to it, but it's not overly strong. The predominant taste is definitely hazelnut. It's a very hazelnutty thing. Hang on. Yeah, it's definitely hazelnut in flavour. That's the predominant flavour. Yeah, it's a kind of a dark chocolate taste, I would say. It's not like a creamy milk chocolate taste. It's got that kind of a little bit of bitterness with it, I would say. a little bit of bitterness right on the edge there, which is more kind of dark chocolatey. I mean, it's not unpleasant. It's a very unusual cup of tea. I don't think I've ever had a cup of tea which is a little bit cocoa-y and a little bit hazelnutty. It's certainly very interesting. Hang on, let's go in for another bit. Yeah, I don't know if I can taste anything else. Hang on, what else did it have in it again? Reminded me, little packet type thing. So it had, hang on, bring it there. So green tea, that's kind of the predominant thing. Then, yeah, so 10% is the hazelnut in the brittle pieces. 10% is the cocoa. Now that's interesting because I would say the hazelnut is the stronger taste. So that's kind of, it's, I wouldn't say it's overpowering the chocolate, but I would say it's kind of, it's muscling its way into the front of the taste cube, possibly. And then it's got, other bits. I mean, sweet blackberry leaves. I don't know if I can taste those. I'm not really sure. Almonds, can't really taste that. Carob. I'm not really sure what carob is, if I'm honest. And then it's got other bits and bobs as well. But do you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It gets the official thumbs up from me. It's quite a nice cup of tea. And it's very unusual. I've never had anything like it before. So it's quite nice to try something new. So here we go with a nice cup of tea. Let's go to today's question. And it comes from a couple of people. So some people ask similar questions on a theme. So Smacky D 1990 and here we go. Quailial, you know who you are. So those two people, one of whom has a name that I can't say properly, asked questions along the lines of, you said you went, I said a few times, you went to university. I was wondering, what did you study at university? Did you pass or fail? And what were you hoping to do with your further education before getting into streaming? Also, best and worst moments of uni life for you. So, okay, good question. So yes, I did go to university. It was quite a long time ago, so I might age myself a bit here, but you'll be able to identify kind of when I was around at uni. So I did a course at university called Multimedia Computing. It was a 4-year course, and it had a gap. So we did 2 years at uni, then we did a year out in industry, and then we went back and did a final year at university. And I think at the time, it was one of the first courses of its type in the UK, certainly, because it dealt with more, it was a computing course, but it was more about the multimedia aspects of computing. So more about sort of video and graphics and sound and all that kind of stuff, rather than programming or, spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. It was more about the multimedia aspects. So we did regular programming stuff. So we did stuff to learn how to do object-oriented programming and all that kind of stuff. We did all the ordinary stuff, but not as much as other courses, because then we did stuff like video editing, and we learned how to edit some videos in a very basic way. We did some audio stuff. We learned how to do various sort of things with graphics, and we'll come on to that in a second because it was a weird moment which we did, which was very strange indeed. But yeah, we did all sorts of different things, and it was quite good. And then other people, so the people that we knew at uni, would go, oh no, I've got another programming lecture, and we'd be there going, oh, we're going to go and do some sound work now, and there were bits of what. You get to muck around with sounds in like a sound booth. And yeah, a little bit. Yeah, not loads, but we did do a little bit of that. And people were mildly jealous, I suppose, because we got to do more fun, new things, I would say. And as well, it was the time when the World Wide Web, shall we call it, was not as it is now. It was it was still learning its way. And we learned how to do web programming. And we learned how to do HTML and all that kind of stuff, and then ASP and PHP and such like. So some really kind of early programming stuff to do, for the internet, and that was quite good as well. And part of my sort of final, it wasn't really a thesis. I know some people have like a thesis. It was like a final project. I kind of designed this interactive website type thing. You could attach files and remove files and all that kind of stuff. And at the time, it was probably quite good. I'm not tooting my own trumpet there, but it was an all right kind of thing. I'm sure people would have done better, but for the time, it was okay. I think it did quite well. But yeah, so it was a mix of things, but it was very interesting. It was okay. I mean, some stuff was a bit of a bore. We had to do some boring stuff as well, some regular kind of stuff. But yeah, a lot of stuff. It was sort of 60-40, I would say. So 40 of doing your regular stuff that you would do on any computing course. So normal kind of stuff. And then the 60 was, sort of doing other stuff to do with website design and sort of, website aesthetics and how to make them look half decent and all that kind of stuff. And it was very interesting. But there was a gap year as well. So, well, not a gap year. So I did 2 years and then I went away and I went away for 14 months. In fact, I did a little bit longer than the year because they asked me to stay on for a bit. So, and also I was getting paid, which was quite nice. So, I went away for 14 months and got a job and moved away and it was all very exciting. And I did like this company's internal sort of intranet, and I did their website as well. And the company I went to, I'm not going to name names, but the company I went to, the website when I got there was just, it was terrible. It was really, really bad. And I mean, they were like, okay, we'd like to make some small changes. And I was looking at it thinking, yes, what you need to do is you need to take this, put it in a bin and start again, because this is just shocking. It was all over the place and it was really old technology. It was like proper, it was sort of some sort of very early form of HTML, which is what web pages are coded in. It was proper grim. So I redesigned it and it was I did it with a database and you could use the database to update things. So instead of having to go and find a web page and edit it and hard code it all in, you could just go, okay, I've built your product library in a database. Here's an admin tool. You pick categories. So you go, okay, we've got a new product. It's blah, 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 blah. It goes into boobity boop category and there's a picture or two and you can pick how you'd like the pictures to be arranged and then you give it a description, a price, all that kind of stuff. You press save and then it appears. And they initially struggled with this concept. They were kind of bewildered by this idea, but eventually they came round to it. And that's kind of what we did. That was what we kind of learnt about. So it was about doing the pictures and how to make the pictures look good and how it should look good on a page and all that kind of stuff. So, it was very interesting. It was quite good. We did do a module on computer game design. We had to do a team design where we had to design a game and then we had to design a game on our own. So the game I designed on my own was called Solar Suntrap Frenzy, if I remember correctly. I'm going back away. And it was a little bit like Choo Choo Rocket. If you ever played Choo Choo Rocket, I played it on the Nintendo, the Game Boy Advance it was. But I think Solar Suntrap Frenzy, you had like little kind of characters and they're on a grid, and then you had like a big kind of solar panel and you had to push it around where this light was breaking through. But there were things kind of running around the place. You had to avoid these kind of creatures, and some of them follow paths and some of them follow routines. You had to kind of push it into the light and try and get as much light as you could to power something up. I forget now, a spaceship probably. And then, so the creatures would come along, but you have to sort of time it right. So then if a creature is coming along the path, you have to go and push your solar panel out of the way because otherwise the creature would crash into it. And, that was all right. That was a fun little thing. I think that did quite well. But the game that we designed as a team, that actually was very well received. And for many years afterwards, I was told, it was still used as a sort of a point of reference for future students. So, the lecturers would get out what we did and go, this is what you're aiming for. This is your gold standard. It was really good. We smashed that out of the park. That's what people would say. So it was a game called Total Fun Smash Smash. And it was kind of like based on a game show. And the game show was that in the future, the setting was that in the future, the world was at peace and it was all peaceful. But there was an underground movement of violence and rooms would appear. So these rooms would appear on this game show and people would go into the rooms and they would smash things up. They would smash things into pieces, and the more things they broke and the style and flair and all that kind of stuff they did it with, they would get points. And that's kind of, that's what the game was about. I mean, weirdly, that kind of is a thing now. Maybe it's a thing back then, but we weren't aware. But there's kind of escape rooms, but where you just smash stuff up. There's kind of like an angry destroy everything room. But so we had to make a trailer, so an actual animated trailer, which was, it took so long to do, but it was really good. So we did a trailer for it. We had to do a book, and we had to do a poster. We had to make those three things. And we had quite a good group of people. So we had someone who was particularly brilliant at art. So they did loads of kind of artwork for it. I did loads of the sort of the words and the story and such like. So in the it was kind of like a comic. So the book, like the game guide that you wouldn't get nowadays, because this was supposed to be with a CD or a DVD that you bought, a proper hard copy. But the game guide was like a comic book. And so the idea was it'd have like panels, it'd have like stories and things, and like a sort of a box. Did you know in the 2042 Total Fun Smash competition, crazy one-eyed Jack managed to destroy an entire building by using TNT or whatever. And I kind of made up these little sort of stories, and then I did the controls and that kind of stuff. And then when we knew that, the guy could do the art, he drew lots of pictures, we created characters, and then we tried to create those characters in 3D animation software, which we had to learn in about 2 weeks, which was really difficult. And then we kind of got this video together, and somebody else we knew was incredible at video editing, because he had a band, and he'd done band videos before, so he put it all together. And it was really good. The whole thing was completely brilliant. So the art guy did the poster. I did quite a lot of work on the book. I did a lot of work on creating the sort of 3D clips, the sort of animated clips for the trailer thing. And it all just kind of fitted together. It was really good. All these people were involved that had really good skills that made it work. And yeah, for years afterward, it was still used. It was still referenced, which is quite good. I'm quite happy about that. I mean, now it would look terrible. Now it would be completely old hat. But yeah, so we did a lot of different things, or many things. But yeah, that was a particular highlight doing that. That was really good. So did I pass or fail? I passed. So I got a 2-1 with honours, because I did my year out in industry. I didn't get a first. I only just got a 2-1. When I got my initial results, I got a 2-2. So you might not know how this works in the UK system. So a first is the best, 2-1 is the second grade, 2-2 is third, and I think, weird enough, you get a third. So it's first, 2-1, 2-2, third, then I think it's pass, and then I think it's fail. So I got kind of the second highest level, which is not too bad. It's not too bad. That's okay. That's about par for the course of my sort of my academic career. That's okay. But yeah, when I got the results, it said 2-2. I looked down the list, and they hadn't taken into account any of my coursework from any of the stuff ever. It was just all the coursework was just completely blank down this column. I was a bit, well, do I not get any marks for coursework? And I rang the lecture guy up, and he went, oh yeah, actually, hang on, that's not right. I redid it, and I got a 2-1. So I guess that was quite good. So yeah, 2-1 is okay. That's fine. And the question does say, what were you hoping to do with your further education before getting into streaming? There was quite a long gap between when I finished university and when the Geek Cupboard started. Quite a long time. So I went and did some temping after uni, just, some temporary work just to get some money in. And then eventually I had one terrible job, which was awful. It made me cry, and I left that. I didn't like that. That was rubbish. And then I had another job, which was all right. That was another kind of temp job. And then I ended up where I am now. And I've been there for a long, long time, doing various different jobs. But yeah, so it's more kind of programmy now. But that's fine. That's okay. Because I still do multimedia kind of stuff. I do some graphics work and such like, and I'm all right with all that kind of stuff. But yeah. So, I mean, what were you hoping to do with it? I was hoping to do sort of like graphic design and such like, but I never really got into that. It didn't kind of go that way. Didn't sort of head in that direction. I ended up doing sort of more programmy side rather than the kind of the arty side of it. But probably for the best, I think. Maybe, given some of the artistic choices that I've made in, say, any game where I get to design anything, like, hotels or anything, maybe it's probably for the best that I went down the programming route and not the arty route. Or maybe not. Maybe I could have been some sort of revolutionary graphical artist. I don't know. But whatever the case. So yeah, that's what I kind of hoped to do, but it didn't kind of go that way. But that's fine. I'm very happy with how things have turned out. Best and worst moments of uni life. I think the worst moment of uni life was having to go, it sounds really bad, having to go back home and live with my mum and dad again. So I did 2 years at uni where I lived at home, because I went to uni quite near to where I lived, and I couldn't really afford to live anywhere else other than at mum and dad's. We just couldn't afford it. So I lived at home. But then when I went to got my job, it's okay, I'm out for a year, but I've got a job. I'm being paid. I'm not being paid very much for it, but I'm being paid. So went and moved away. So 14 months lived away. It was very lovely. And then, mum and dad, I think initially they were a bit sad, but they got used to it, I think. And then I came back. and they'd repurposed my room and everything. So it was all a bit weird. So kind of felt a little bit, not like a lodger as such, but it felt a little bit kind of strange. But here I am. I'm back. You've redecorated my room. It looks really weird. What have you done? So yeah, I kind of went back home. And then, of course, when you've lived away for a bit, and you do your own things, your own way, and then I was back at home again, it was, oh no, this is this is a bit rubbish now. I'm not overly happy about this. Because, Mum and Dad were brilliant, and I loved them to pieces. But it was, I got used to doing my own things, in my own way, in my own house, and then had to go back and kind of go back to how it was beforehand and do the stuff the way they did stuff. And yeah, it wasn't ideal. But yeah, I did the whole uni thing, and then kind of, moved out sort of about 9 months after uni was finished, when I kind of came down to Northampton and ended up living down here. So yeah, that was the worst point. That wasn't like bad. I wasn't, in sort of floods of tears. It wasn't a disaster, but it was just a bit sort of, I had to kind of go back to how it was, and it wasn't ideal because uni was pretty good. I liked it, uni. It was nice. I mean, the debt wasn't great. Actually, that wasn't good. The money involved in it wasn't very good. Best moment? There's quite a lot of best moments. There were lots of good things. I mean, Total Fun Smash Smash, the game we made, that was probably the favourite thing that we did. That was really good. But, just sort of getting to learn all this new technology and going into these kind of sound booth things. I did a project for sound. It was called, I made like a kids sort of, I suppose it would be an app now. I mean, it was a website. Apps weren't really a thing back then. But it was a website, and it was called The Noisy Alphabet. And we had to go and make all these, well, I said we had to, it was like a sort of a soundboard type thing. And you had A to Z or A to Z, depending on where you are, on the screen. And then you clicked it, and it was like a little door. So the door would pop open, and there'd be a picture on the inside. And each letter had 2 things behind it. So 2 things that would randomly pop up. And then it made a noise. And we had to make the noises. So we had to, S was for C, I think it was. And so at one point during then, I actually went to the seaside by convenience. So I recorded the sound of the sea. And then I came back and edited it. And then other things in the sound booth, we were like, we'd sort of have an A for apple, and we'd have an apple, and we'd kind of, we'd chomp at an apple in the sound booth and record it. So that was quite fun. So yeah, it was a good course overall. I mean, best moments, I don't know. I can't think. I mean, when I moved away, I did meet Mrs. Penge. That was quite a good moment. That was a good moment. I met Mrs. Penge at a pub quiz. That was quite fun. So that was, that was a definite highlight. But that wasn't really at uni. That wasn't uni life. I think that was more, so that was when I was working, and I wasn't at uni, really. I was doing the working part. I didn't really do any uni stuff. As well, I met some really wonderful people, still in touch with them now. And yeah, it was just good. It was a good all-round experience. I think I learnt quite a lot of different things, met lots of good people, and also there was the going out and, the having a social life kind of thing, and the drinking and the eating, and it just sort of, I don't know, you'd finish your thing, you finish whatever you were doing, your lectures, and then you'd just go for a walk, just going for a walk into town, because we're quite near to the town, just go for a walk around, have a little sort of wander about. In the summer it was quite nice, quite warm. In winter you could look at all the Christmassy things, and it felt all kind of Christmassy. So I couldn't pick a particular best moment of uni life itself. I think the best moment of the whole uni experience was meeting Mrs. Penge. That was probably the best thing. But yeah, there we go. Hopefully that kind of covers that question. It was a bit rambly, that answer, wasn't it? It went all over the place. So many things. Hang on, I need a bit of tea now. Hazelnut tea. There we go. And yeah, answer the question. And I've got some very unusual tea to finish off now. So hopefully that was okay. Hopefully that kind of whiffly waffly answer did actually cover what you were looking for. And I got to the point somewhere along the line. Hopefully, maybe, possibly. I don't know. But whatever the case, the question is done. I've got my hazelnut tea to drink, so I think we can wrap things up for the moment. So for now, thank you very much for joining me for day 12 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022, and I will see you next time. This sports car is indeed illegal. You clearly couldn't see the sign saying no cars. I have found the place where I'm going to live forever. The Tea and Biscuits Cafe. I want to rename the dog. Let's call it Woofles. Woofles McBark. Behold, the power of the blimp.